Are you ready to learn how to make your travel tax deductible? In this video, I'm going to show you what you need to do in order to legally deduct your travel expenses. My name is Linda Tuttle, and I help entrepreneurial women maximize their income through tax savings and business systems so they can live life to the fullest and prepare for retirement with peace of mind. So, I'm just getting started, but if you'd like to learn some of these travel and business related tips, click that subscribe button so you don't miss my future episodes. So today I wanted to talk about one of my very favorite subjects, and this is how to deduct travel expenses. I love to travel. So if you're just new to following me, you'll learn that about me in a hurry. Love to travel. And if you can make the travel tax deductible, even better. So I run into people building a business all the time who don't understand all of the tax benefits, and that's why I'm here, is to help you understand. So to me, this is one of your very best benefits of owning a business, and I like to recommend to my clients that you do have some sort of side business, because with the tax changes, if you are an employee and you're traveling for work, likely you're getting reimbursed by your employer. But if you are an employee and not getting reimbursed, you no longer can deduct those travel expenses under the current tax law. But if you have a side business and you follow the rules that we're going to discuss today, suddenly you have a whole lot of tax deductions available to you for travel. So again, one of the benefits of being self-employed. Now, what I'm covering here today is for entertainment purposes. Can't rely on this, but I am taking this information directly from publication 463, and I'll attach a link to that at the bottom of the show notes so that you can reference that as you are looking at things. So one of the biggest things to keep in mind is the IRS talks about travel expenses being ordinary and necessary. Ordinary would mean that it's typical for someone in a similar line of business. So if you have, let's say, $10,000 of income and you're trying to write off $20,000 of expenses for travel, probably not so ordinary. If you have $100,000 in income and you're writing off $10,000 of business travel expense, probably more in line. So keep that in mind as I'm talking about these things. Ordinary, necessary would be that it is required of you to further your business income and learning and growing. You'll also learn from me that I am a huge fan of personal development, attending conferences, learning how to further grow your business. So that would qualify, ordinary and necessary. Now, when you are trying to establish what a travel expense is, the IRS in this guide refers to your tax home. Your tax home is not necessarily where you personally reside with your family, but it's where your normal place of business is. This is how you help determine what your tax home is. And in order to take these travel expenses that we're going to be talking about, your travel needs to be more than 100 miles from your tax home, somewhere that would require you to stay overnight to incur this business expense. Now, I run into this all the time where people say, oh, I don't want to take this. But you, as a business owner, if you're following these rules, it is a legitimate business expense that is 100% deductible. Now, doesn't mean, so the biggest caveat that you need to keep in mind is that it is for a business purpose. And one of the things with that is that you need to have the business purpose planned ahead of time. So let's give an example. Let's say you and your family are going on a trip to a resort and you're planning to sit poolside for 95% of the time, but you take a business phone call for 30 minutes one day. That is not a trip planned for business purpose and would not be tax deductible. Now, if you had to pay for Wi-Fi service to be able to have internet to conduct business, Well, away on a vacation that is primarily for personal purposes, then that portion, the hotel fee or an airport fee or something that you would have to pay for that Wi-Fi expense, that portion would be tax deductible. But just taking one business call or conducting one 30-minute business meeting while you are on vacation does not qualify as a business expense. However, if you are going to attend a conference or a convention, something that's going to further your knowledge, like I talked about, to help you run your business, and you're going for that purpose, you can have some pleasure on the trip and still have it be tax deductible. The difference is the IRS counts the number of days. Your travel days to and from do count as business travel days, and that day becomes fully tax deductible. So let's say in the same example that you travel on a Thursday and you are attending meetings on Friday, you happen to be there at your place of this meeting over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. The IRS allows you to have personal time on the weekends, but you have another meeting on Monday and you're traveling home on Tuesday. So you've got travel days of Thursday and Tuesday with business meetings on Friday and Monday. Your trip would be tax deductible if you're conducting business, like a full business purpose, typically your traditional hours, like 8 hours on that Friday and Monday. Your whole trip would be tax deductible. All of your expenses would then become tax deductible. So let's use another example. Let's say that you go on this same type of business trip and you're driving instead of flying, and you stay an extra 3 days. Now, that doesn't mean that the whole trip is not tax deductible. You could still deduct the travel to and from your destination, but the expenses of those additional 3 days that were for personal purposes, those would not be tax deductible, but you could still be writing off the travel for the days that were business purposes. So hopefully that explains what it takes to be able to deduct something as a business travel expense. So once you've established that it is for a business trip, what is tax deductible? It would be all of your transportation. So if you are flying by an airplane, then your airfare is tax deductible. Your luggage fees that you have to pay to check your bags would then become tax deductible. If you need to rent a car, once you get to your destination for these established business purposes, then that becomes tax deductible. If you need to, if you don't rent a car, but rather you have an expense such as an Uber or a taxi, that is tax deductible. Your lodging, again, somewhere that you're required to stay overnight, then your hotel. Now, keep in mind, you don't want to be lavish or extravagant, not necessarily booking the presidential suite, but if you're staying in a, reasonable, again, ordinary, necessary hotel room, that is a qualified business expense. Your meals while you are gone still count at that 50% rate. All of your meals that are incurred while you are traveling at the 50% rate. Now, let's say you need to get some clothes cleaned, dry cleaned while you are there. That is actually tax deductible laundry or dry cleaning expenses while on this business trip. I mentioned Wi-Fi. If you need to get Wi-Fi while you're traveling on the airplane or at the hotel and there's a fee, that's deductible. If you're paying tips associated with all these expenses that we've talked about, that is also tax deductible. Now, my 2 biggest pieces of advice that I can give you in order to make these fully tax deductible is keep your receipts. Document everything that you are going to claim as a business expense and keep good records of it, whether that's keeping the physical receipt. There's so many resources out there now to be able to capture an electronic copy of your receipt, and then you don't have to keep the actual receipt, and I will reference some of those in the show notes as well. And then the other biggest thing that I would tell you is have a separate account whether that's a separate checking account or a separate credit card for your business to show that you're not just mixing all of your personal and business expenses. I see this all the time where people try to commingle everything, and this is the easiest way to keep track of your business expenses and keep it clean, is to document and have it in a separate account. So that's my discussion for today. In a future video, we'll go over more details on just auto and expenses rather than not being that 100 miles away. But for today, click the show notes if you'd like to learn more. I have a link to an online course that I have put together that dives into this a little bit deeper, as well as a lot of other tax deductions and the rules behind them. So look forward to connecting with you.